Everybody, and welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series. I am Jason, and today I'm joined by my fellow co-caster as well as teammate on ReGen Blue, Mongoose. How you doing tonight, Mongoose?
Hanging in there, man. Saw this game on the calendar, and a fan of both teams and know people on both, so if I could get in on the action, I wanted to do so. So here I am.
So here you are. Speaking of that action, let's go ahead and take a look real quick at today's map selections and bans. Almost Legends are going to be our blue team on the left. They elected to ban out Volskaya Foundry. Meanwhile, ReGen Red going to be our team in red. Very fitting for those boys. And we're going to have them banning out Infernal Shrines, but picking up BOE. So first map we'll go into Battlefield of Eternity. What do you think, Mongoose?
Battlefield of Eternity is the only two-lane map we have, right? So Brawly. Teams are going to be team fighting, and it kind of changes the meta a little bit. You see Artanis more heavily prioritized. Tyrande is always good, but even better here on Battlefield of Eternity. Li Ming, who's kind of fallen out a bit, gets vaulted to more prominence here on BOE because she's probably the best long-range kind of poke burn hero available. So I think of all of the Battlefields, probably the most unique meta of the maps we have in the competitive pool right now.
Yeah, a lot of heavy team fighting here for sure, and definitely one if not the most unique metas for any map on the circuit, as it does involve that mechanic of trying to burn down these immortals, which you just don't see on any other map. You see some that have higher prioritized wave clear, but none that really go so hard towards the PvE aspect for damage.
And we've all seen these drafts that kind of look really strong one side to the other, and then you get in the game, an actual game, and you realize one of the teams just didn't put enough priority on the burning of the immortal, and you can kind of lose a game just by not having enough of that. So you really got to make sure you grab those heroes that can work on the objective, and that's going to be a first ban, pretty quick ban on Ana.
Yeah, she's been just a terror in the meta since her rework. The grenade build has just been tearing people apart before we even bring back Eye of Horus, which I actually am not sure. Is that back yet officially?
It looks like it's fixed on the PTR, so early scuttlebutt as it should be available next week, which means she'll be banned even more, I would guess, because Eye of Horus is busted, and Diablo going to be banned out by ReGen Red.
I don't see how that can be possible, but we'll give it a shot next week to see if it can be more banned. But so it's been Ana and tanks that I've been seeing banned out more than anything else, and they're going to keep with that trend as we see Diablo and Nubarak go out. Any other tanks we're going to see banned here, or maybe a Zeratul? What do you think, Mongoose?
The Zera wouldn't surprise me. It's kind of Diablo and a Nubarak from what I've seen that seem to be holding at the top of the NGS meta right now. Those two tanks probably most played, most contested. Kael'thas banned out. That does leave the Zeratul up. I don't know if Almost Legends plays Zera, but man, a well-played Zeratul is just such a monster.
Yeah, very difficult to combat right now, and we learned that lesson the hard way last night. But
yeah, I'm still feeling that one a little bit.
Yeah, but Zul'jin gonna be the first pick up here. So very interesting first pick here for Hoedown, as we see the bad guy coming in. You want Axe, Mongoose?
I mean, I never mind me some Axe. That's pretty high prioritization on it, though. You don't see first pick Zul'jin kind of like ever. So I wonder if that's just kind of their flavor right now. You know, they're just feeling the Zul'jin. I wonder if that changes what ReGen Red does, if they're going to try to stack into some blinds or CC. But Tyrande, I mentioned on BOE. Jaina, once she gets the cooldown reduction on her Q, does have some sustained burn in addition to the burst that her base kit brings.
Yeah, there's also a really nice build for Jaina that we see on this map, but not most other maps. The extended duration on your slow at 1, the mana, getting the mana back on chilled targets on 4, and then again that reset rage on 7, like you'd normally see, allows her to be able to poke and get more of that frost damage in over a longer period of time, but almost never run out of mana in the race. So it actually kind of makes her a monster post 7 with the poke ability. But either way, we are going to see Lili and Arthas coming out here for these next 2 picks. So maybe a denial for that Lili pick a little bit, in case ReGen Ren wanted to go towards more of a double support thing with the Tyrande. But definitely going to deny those blinds a little bit.
So another tank banned out. Garrosh this time. Xera's still around. I do like the Arthas with the Zul'jin, though. One of the issues that Zul'jin can have is sticking on his target, and of course Arthas has no issue whatsoever sticking on his target, so that'll kind of hold somebody in place for Zul'jin to give them all the axle they want. But there's the blinds with Arrow going to be on the Johanna, and Hanzo, who used to be really popular on BOE, not quite as much as he used to be since they nerfed that particular build. He just went from flat first pick, first ban to pretty good on here, but still solid.
Yeah, and the Johanna, I think, was pretty much the last option for ReGen Red of the strong tanks in the meta right now. Garrosh banned out, along with all those other first bans, but Gul'dan and Imperius going to be picked up here. So I like the Gul'dan pick. I think one of his major weaknesses is having trouble keeping up because of the fact that his spells don't have incredibly long range. Corruption goes out a while, but the Arthas being able to keep people in, the Imperius with the stun can give really good setup for the Corruption to get big damage, and for him to be able to keep them up as he fell flames with that low cooldown on the Q.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is going to be maybe an Artanis to stack on those blinds more, and there it is. If you do the blind talent that the name is escaping me, I'm almost positive, we can double check it, but it has the same duration as Taz Dingo, so you can kind of negate that heroic if you plop them down at the same time.
I want to say Suppression Pulse?
Suppression Pulse is correct.
But yeah, and definitely a lot of race damage too, so I really like ReGen Red's comp for the burn damage. The question is, are they going to be able to get back to that Zul'jin and be able to effectively blind him and put enough damage on him to really squelch how effective he can be from that backline position?
Yeah, I think it's going to be actually difficult for ReGen Red from a team fight perspective. They have cups that they have to contend with, and unless Hanzo hits like a Johanna can kind of get way back there, I don't think that Arrow is going to be able to do that, because if Lili positions properly, it's very difficult to get to cups. You also have the Horrify and Army of the Dead. I mean, that's so much control and displacement. From a team fight perspective, I really like what Almost Legends has on the board.
Speaking of really liking, I really like what we did the last time when we had locked in on your camera with that observing difference. So I think we might try that again, Mongoose, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. That's perfectly fine.
All right. Well, why don't we start out on the left here? Almost Legends as we load in here for Game 1, Battlefield of Eternity. We've got Balalos, team captain on the Arthas. Born to Shine going to be playing Lili. Hoedown on the Zul'jin. Emsa going to be on the Gul'dan. And up in the top, we've got Tribulation on the Imperius.
And for ReGen Red, squaring off in the solo lane will be Shui on Artanis. Carve playing Jaina. Psychic on Tyrande. Zul'jin on Hanzo. And Arrow on Johanna.
Alright, so both teams going to rotate pretty custom, pretty customary rotations on this map. 1-4 with the solo lane in the top. And it's what you would expect, the Imperius versus the Artanis matchup up there. I think it favors the Imperius just a little bit, assuming he doesn't get swapped into the towers too often.
Yeah, generally, there's not very many 1v1 matchups that Imperius won't win over time, given equal skill, and Artanis is not one of those. But if I remember correctly, I think his trading really comes online at 7, I believe. So till then, it'll be a little bit close.
Now, meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we're seeing just both teams going back and forth. A lot of sustain from each side, some potential lockdown from each side, but not a whole lot of guaranteed CC. It's pretty much all skill shots. So we'll have to see if anybody gets caught out. But for right now, it's just a lot of poking back and forth with not a lot of results just yet.
Yeah, and we haven't really talked about the implications of this matchup itself. As Arrow goes in for a big 3-man condemn. Hoedown getting chunked down hard by Jaina, and Zulkin actually going in to finish the job. First blood over to ReGen Red with Hanzo picking off the Zul'jin, and it looks like they will rotate down to this bottom Merc camp and take that as the reward for their efforts.
Yeah, I really like Zulkin on the Hanzo so far. Very good poke potential, and it's been just kind of harassing that Zul'jin, not allowing him to come in and start to build up, build up some of that strong damage that we see from him if he's left alone too often.
Yeah, so what I started to touch on was Almost Legends is currently in second place in C East, having a really strong season. They haven't lost yet, a 2-1 and 2-2-0 dominations. And on the other side, ReGen Red kind of started off a little bit slow, but last week became the first team to knock off first place calculated throw. They're kind of sitting right in the middle of C East, but riding high off the big win. If they were to take out the #1 and #2 teams in the divisions in back-to-back weeks, that would be a huge statement game and a big recovery from an 0-2 to start the season.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not just that both teams are high on the division right now, but have good momentum coming into this matchup. So both teams are going to be very interested in looking to keep that going. But right now on the map, both teams interested in getting their camps here. So they're going to both have these Shaman camps pushing out in opposite lanes. Almost Legends electing to rotate 3 to the top to burn. Meanwhile, it's going to be a 5v2 down here, so it should allow ReGen Red to push in, but we are going to see that they are going to have some pretty strong swap potential there. Gul'dan gets baited out and isolated and taken down, so that's going to be the second kill of the game. Going over to ReGen Red, 2-0 so far here early.
Yeah, and I kind of don't really like that decision by Almost Legends here to race and then split 3-2. It just kind of isolated out Gul'dan, and now they're going to lose this Immortal, no doubt. The race on ReGen Red is just flat better. And we saw in the halftime, once they were able to focus their damage, just how fast that Immortal went down after that halftime set.
Yeah, and it's not even a matter of getting the Immortal, but then also getting the Gul'dan, getting that extra XP. It's going to make it harder now for Almost Legends to get that 7 talent tier while this is all going on. Meanwhile, it should be coming in real soon here for ReGen Red, so it's pretty much best case scenario there for ReGen Red to start this off.
Yeah, the first 2 kills of the game, the first Immortal of the game. But what I think is really going to be telling is all of those heroics and how they interact with each other from Almost Legends. After 10, the first big engagement after 10, I really think is going to tell the tale of this game. As EMSA just eats a full blizzard, has to back up hard, full wall in the bottom, about 30% of the forward health. That's about as much as you could really realistically expect out of the first Immortal if you're going to be ReGen Red there.
Yeah, getting the well also very nice as they kind of meander on into the second laning phase here of the game. Nice swap onto Tribulation up here as Shui looking for the damage. It's going to force Tribulation to back on up and go on up to tap to re-engage this, but we will see the announcement on the map, the subtle announcement of where these next positions are, and we're going to see looks to me, I think they'll show up in blue if I'm correct, Mongoose, but it looks like it's going to be opposite sides here to start, so defensive positioning.
I believe that it's correct. I'm going to say, Jay, I'm really impressed with what we've seen from Shui on that Artanis here in the early going. And I actually casted the ReGen calculated throw match last week, and if I recall, he had a couple of monster games on the Auric, I believe, because I remember he had some buddies ribbing on him in the chat there, saying who was playing on Shui's account. He was just playing so well. So he's really on fire right now, especially here in the early going as well. Big condemn from Arrow coming in on the flank.
Yeah, they're looking for EMSA. We will have the Drain Life on the other side. Cleanse maybe a little bit late there, but doesn't hurt to have a cleanse on your way out, I suppose. Huge counter route though. Balalos gets in, and they're going to be able to take down Jaina. Maybe stepping a little bit too far forward, trying to get something going there.
Yeah, trying to follow up on the flank from Arrow. The Blizzard unfortunately didn't get a lot of value, and it allowed Almost Legends to turn with a lot of confidence and just turn that engagement around. But look at Zolkin really poking with that Hanzo. He's kind of seeing those low-ish health bars from Almost Legends and maybe getting some big eyes trying to make a play there, as Hoedown actually had to kind of zone him out of there, his little poke position there.
Yeah, trying to get the downtown kills. But we will see the members of ReGen Red getting a little bit aggressive on the Immortal on the other side. They will be able to back out, though. They've got good disengage for that. And Hoedown is on the chase, but for right now, it looks like they're going to position out. Both teams still about a quarter level until they have level 10, so that's not going to be a factor here unless we see somebody go out to soak. And for right now, they're just going to kind of assume this dance here on Battlefield of Eternity that we see so often in the mid.
Yeah, and Artanis actually is going to rotate down to bottom. ReGen Red just used the Sentinel to check the Merc camp that Almost Legends has now started. So Artanis in the bottom lane, both clearing up the Merc camp and soaking for 10. ReGen Red, knowing that Almost Legends is on the Bruiser camp, step in to try to burn the Immortal. Johanna now without Iron Skin, so I want to see Arrow play a little more cautious right now. ReGen Red probably about 10 to 15 seconds. Going to be quicker here to 10s, and here they are.
Yeah, level 10's coming in hot. It is going to be Starfall with that suppression pulse like you talked about. Arrow comes in, but hits I believe Gul'dan there. But we will see Imperious going down as well. So very low health bars now for Almost Legends as their level 10s are coming online. But too little too late, and Balalo is going to be slowed by Curve. Does pop the army, and they're going to actually let him go and prioritize the Immortal here. In baseball, we call that a fielder's choice, Mongoose.
Yes, that whole sequence there, I think, was really a matter of just kind of better energy. ReGen Red really hooked up their stuff better. They initiated onto the Gul'dan with the Dragon Arrow. He escaped with less than 200 hit points, but then kind of re-engaged with really low health and was able to finish him off kind of after the fact when it wasn't needed. Arthas was kind of isolated out from his team there. The Cups was a little bit late. So Almost Legends is a little bit not quite on the same page yet, but we still haven't seen that 5v5 with heroics that I want to see from Almost Legends. The state of the game right now, where the early game is just less as impactful, one team fight like that can turn everything around.
Now, would you see the Dragon Arrow coming out point blank, though? Short stun and the aggression coming in here from Almost Legends. All 5 up here. They will hit the root, but very smart disengage here from ReGen Red to back out and just live to fight another day on this. The ring does come out, though, as they do have the isolation here on Born to Shine. The Cups comes out and heals just for a couple seconds before it gets interrupted. Balalo's very low, is going to have to back out. Meanwhile, Zul'jin actually falling on the backside of that.
That was a huge win for ReGen Red. They had a great fighting retreat in face of being outnumbered 5-4 the entire time. Look at Shui in the bottom lane, soaking, getting structure damage, and he needs to leave now. But up to this point, he's gotten them a nice level lead. He may have overstayed. Shui, no. Impale goes down. Gul'dan has arrived.
Oh, the blind
goes down. But I don't think it's gonna matter. I think they're gonna get Shui probably worth the kill. But I think he could have gotten out alive, and they could have returned just kind of at any point to throw a sandwich at that before it finished it up.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think it was those last 2 minion hits. You know, he stayed in there, tried to clear the wave as well. But we will see Dragon Arrow coming out as they look to engage here, even without the Artanis. But a massive spear coming in from Tribulation. Duranda goes down, Hanzo down, and suddenly everybody dying. Almost Legends finds that legendary team fight they've been looking for all game, and they're going to take the full 5-0 without the Artanis there, and now Shui's the one that's got to be careful.
Yeah, and that was actually EMSA coming in on the flank, a naked flank, and hitting all of the members of ReGen Red with, it looked like every single stack of corruption completely melted ReGen Red, and that fight was basically over at that point.
So Mongoose, what do you think of this adjustment by Zul'jin? You mentioned it, the suppression pulse. Well, actually, never mind, there's another team fight. We'll wait on that. We just see another Cups coming out as the members of ReGen Red trying to deny the interrupt. Huge condemn coming in from Arrow, and another big ring as well on the back end of that. Balalos is very, very low. Imperius already down. They are able to grab the camp, and now Hoedown is way in here on the backside. Jaina falls, though. EMSA gonna take Jaina down with them, life for life, as it were, Gul'dan's motto. But it's a 4-for-1 exchange in favor of ReGen Red, as these two teams out of CEs are just punching each other in the mouth right now.
Yeah, and just like that last team fight, I think the turning point there was the Horrify that I don't think hit anybody, and ReGen just basically ignored it and completely turned that around. Ring of Frost, Psychic hit a long-range Lunar Flare to help finish off the Lily on the retreat there, and after kind of stumbling in the fight over the mercenary camps, ReGen Red looking to take control of this game one more time and winning an almost full-strength Immortal.
Yeah, but one thing I was wanting to talk about there, Mongoose, the adjustment here from Zul'jin, the Guillotine coming down as the ultimate instead of Taz Dingo. Do you like that because of the suppression pulse? Is that do you feel like that's a good good adjustment?
I mean, it makes sense if you take the Taz Dingo when the other player, Shui in this case, is on point with the suppression pulse. Basically, all it is a I'm not going to die for 4 seconds button, but you don't get any of the damage value out of it. So, I mean, if you can get a Guillotine onto Tyrande or Jaina, both of whom are fairly immobile targets, especially, you know, when they're on the back of a Horrify, so they should be moving in a straight line, I think that's a good adjustment, but I also haven't seen any value out of it quite yet.
Have you ever seen an Immortal go in on the sidewall like that without the gate down? That's new for me. But we do see the gate is down and the keep is starting to take a lot of damage. Level 16 right around the corner here for ReGen Red. They're looking to try to push onto this keep. It is going to end up going down. The counter engage is here, though, from Almost Legends. They've poked multiple members low. Shui trying to shift out, and that Guillotine just barely missing the mark onto Shui. Could have been maybe a kill there. Zul'jin, agility on out there. And for right now, it looks like they're on the retreat, and I think they're going to make it away safely. They got their prize, and they just barely get out before the overstay kills start to come in.
Yeah, and I like this kind of back rotation here. They do have 16s. They burn this thing really quickly.
Wow, that thing melted.
Yeah, Shui trying to dropping the suppression pulse just as a dismount to stop the rotation there. And a really quick, decisive camp steal there for ReGen Red. Well played overall.
Can you believe the narrow escapes here, Mongoose? These guys are just barely getting away.
Yeah, man, they're really close. And I don't know if you saw again the Horrify, which is such a big component of what Almost Legends wants to do here. Only hit Johanna in defense of that keep. She just iron skinned her way out of it. They really need to get some more value out of that Horrify. And mark my words, if Almost Legends is going to come back and win this, I'm willing to put money down. It's going to be on the back of a big Horrify.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, but also it's just a matter of Almost Legends not quite being able to pin down ReGen Red. We're talking about like half a second later on the rotation, and ReGen Red goes from making it out safely to getting completely team wiped in 2 different occasions there on the bottom of the map. But they are going to be able to scout out the fact that they're on this camp. They're not going to look to do anything about it, though. That set of shamans is just basically going to get countered by this massive wave that's forming in the bot now with 3 catapults. But for right now, Immortals ready to spawn, and the camp ready to be picked up right around the same time. So ReGen Red going to elect to pick this up real quick, and then we'll have to see where they go to the Immortals. But huge burn coming in from Almost Legends. ReGen Red basically going to give up halftime here.
Pretty close. It looks like they'll step in just in time to prevent it, fight under their own Immortal. And I do think those katas will actually... No, maybe it's going to be close. That's actually pretty close to an even fight. I was kind of watching those katas and the mercs in the bottom lane. It's pretty close to even. The top lane, though, is not even. There's going to be occasional catapults building up with those mercenaries. So I like what ReGen Red is doing. They're waiting for Almost Legends to make their decision. Do they go defend, and that allows ReGen Red to step in with numbers, or do they fight under the red Immortal? And it's really Almost Legends has to decide which they want to go. Big swap onto Imperius. He is slowed, able to impale to safety, at least temporarily. Jukes the Lunar Flare, but not quite enough there. Imperius caught out. Almost Legends, they do secure halftime in the meantime, which is a pretty cheeky play to buy themselves some time until Imperius is up.
Yeah, it's not going to be nearly enough time, though. 35 seconds, and now ReGen Red is going to start on the burn. So the question is, does Almost Legends want to come in on this? They're pretty split right now. 2 members going in against all 5 ReGen Red. They are under their Immortal, though, so they have a small advantage, but massive swap onto Gul'dan. He's going to end up being in the middle of this team fight, but they're actually keeping up pretty well with the cups. But he does end up eventually falling. Shui gonna have to rotate away. Arrow very low. They're gonna exchange Arrow out. And somehow, Almost Legends able to take a 1-for-1 under their own Immortal 5v4 here, Mongoose.
I do not know how that happened, but Born, oh my goodness. Caught with the naked Lunar Flare, and then they're able to finish her off. That is a big blow for Almost Legends. They almost just made a spectacular team fight to kind of stymie ReGen Red's momentum 5v4. Turns out, by the way, that the Merc camp did beat Triple Catapult.
Yeah, Shaman's OP, please nerf Blizzard. And even that occasional Catapult coming in as a factor.
Yeah, they actually started to send Jaina down here and then called her back, so I wonder if ReGen Red had game on their mind, Jay.
Yeah, I think you have to. You know, it's not a huge shield on this Immortal, but you should definitely be thinking keep at the very least. And it's like you said, that Shaman camp had gone a long way, but was getting targeted at that point by the keep, so it was going to go down. Suppression Pulse going to go on the front line, trying to deny a little bit of the burn and engage potential, as Almost Legends looking like they kind of want to engage past this Immortal, but now the Belalos actually going to get stunned and booped back into the members of ReGen Red. He'll back up, but this keep is definitely going down. Both keeps now for Almost Legends lost, and here comes the engage past the Immortal.
Yeah, Almost Legends looking for the engage after the keep has fallen. ReGen Red trying to disengage a triple Dragon Arrow, Scatter Arrow. Johanna kind of getting rooted and doing everything she can to stay alive, but will not. So they get 1 kill on maybe a slight overstay for ReGen Red, but I am going to say worth, Jay.
Yeah, again, you know, ReGen Red going in long enough, staying around for what they came for, and not being punished heavily enough to really allow Almost Legends to get anywhere near the same amount of value. So I like this call, though, from Almost Legends. They know that ReGen Red is 1 member down. Level 20s are going to be around soon, so they can't afford to wait. They need to open up a win condition, and it looks like they're going to start with this top fort. If they can maybe get through the front wall with this push, they could just be 1 team fight away from winning this, but instead are going to look to go back and defend as that bottom lane is starting to press in towards their core. Or maybe not.
I like, they're actually going to invade with Johanna down. They have about 10 to 15 second window here to burn this down. That's plenty of time. They're not going to get much value out of it unless they double push with the Mercs top, but it's more of a denial. They have to rotate back to that bottom lane and start doing a little housekeeping in the bottom lane. It's a huge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 catapults plus the Merc, so that has to be dealt with.
But not so occasional catapults coming in now for the member.
That is a whole lot of catapults, is what that is.
The anything but occasional catapults coming in now for ReGen Red, as we do see all 5 members rotating in towards the mid. They're not going to look to try an engage here. They just want to set up and have good positioning for the Immortal. I think I like that call. No need for ReGen Red to be too overly eager to fight, as the pressure in both lanes from these catapults are going to start mounting.
Yeah, they're learning from their struggling ReGen Blue counterparts that when you have a big lead, you don't need to force stuff, you need to show patience. Although Shui kind of isolated out from his teammates, taking a lot of damage. There's the big Horrified Jade that might have done it. Dragon Air on the backside catches 2, followed up by the Ring of Frost. Oh my goodness, 2 members down, 3 members down. And I think that's going to be the beginning of the end, Jason. Game 1 probably going to go to ReGen Red here.
I agree. At this point, they can just march in towards the core. They have plenty. They don't need the Immortal, but it looks like they're actually waffling a little bit on it. They want to go ahead and get the Immortal. The GGs are coming out, but I don't know if they actually wait for halftime and try and get this Immortal. They can push in with it and probably still get a win, but I mean, it's an interesting trade-out for what I think is definitely a win if they just go in now.
Yeah, it should be GG either way, but I mean, they could have just went to the top lane. There's already 3 catapults sitting up there. They could have escorted those in if they wanted to, or they could have just walked to the core and killed it. I don't think it's going to matter either way. The only small, subtle difference is by the time this Immortal walks to...
No, wait a minute here, Mongoose. 18 seconds until all the members of Almost Legends are back. The bottom fort is gone. If Almost Legends can be up and defend and win this team fight, they can go across if they can burn the Immortal fast enough. I think this is a misplay for ReGen Red. They may still be able to pull it out here, but they're letting Almost Legends have a shot in this game still.
You took the words out of my mouth. By the time the Immortal marches down here, it is going to be a 5v5. Although, not anymore, because Cornish and Arthas Belalos are gone. Gul'dan soon to follow. That will be game.
I was saying there was a chance, Mongoose, but that is still 1,000,000 to 1. As 3 members get wiped out, and yeah, Jaina, all 3 of those kills. Another monster ring. We've been seeing monster rings coming out of Carve all series. And just like that, that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1 on Battlefield of Eternity is going to go over to ReGen Red. GG, well played.
That was quite a display, Mr. Jason.
Yeah, I mean, overall, a very, very entertaining match, back and forth. I think the biggest difference for ReGen Red, able to take advantage of their wins a little bit harder throughout the match than Almost Legends. You started to see them catch up on it a little bit with that last push after killing the Johanna and being able to get the fort down. But overall, you know, ReGen Red taking control early with those advantages and able to take it all the way home for the win.
Yeah, and it just felt like ReGen Red was actually collectively on the same page to a higher level of efficiency than Almost Legends was. Their cohesiveness was just kind of better throughout the game, and I think that's why all of those team fights, not all of them were close, but the ones that were close went to ReGen Red simply because they were more on the same page than Almost Legends was.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break while we set up for game number 2. Don't go anywhere. We've got one of the hottest matchups of the season so far here in the Division C East. Game number 2 coming at you soon, right after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and ready for game number 2. Take a quick look at our map selections tool. Want to thank Weenus, as always, for making this cool tool for us to use this season. So map number 1 goes over to ReGen Red on Battlefield. So Almost Legends electing to take map pick, and they are going to pick up Towers of Doom for game number 2. And so Towers of Doom, of course, very high team fighting map, a lot like what we saw last time, but with a little bit more rotational pressure, macro presence, and the wave clear and the sieging can come in as a little bit bigger a factor than the PvE damage we see on Battlefield of Eternity. And of course, I know this is one of your favorite maps to cast. I think for everyone, we love casting on this map. What do you think, Mongoose?
Well, it's because it's the best competitive map in the game for entertainment value. There's no two ways about it. If you don't feel that way, you're wrong. That one's tight.
So just looking at how those two teams battled in game number 1 as we head into Towers of Doom for game 2, who would you give the edge to, just in terms of the play style and what you saw there?
I mean, I'm gonna gush on ReGen Red here a little bit. This is we scrimmed ReGen Red maybe a week or two before the season started, and this team is not that team. They're whatever power bars they're eating before the game or Wheaties they're having for breakfast is really working, because they're just, it's a complete light switch, and they have to be riding so high after defeating Calculator Throw last week, having a very commanding win against the next strongest team in the division here in Almost Legends. I mean, all the momentum, they have to feel, like they're on top of the world. They have all the momentum. They're playing great. They're feeling good about themselves. I think everything going into game 2 has ReGen Red written all over it.
Yeah, Heroes of the Storm is definitely more of a team-based game than any other MOBA out there. And so individual play can be good, but having confidence in your ability to play as a team and as a coordinated unit, I think, is the most important thing to have in this game. If you just trust that the rest of your team is going to do what they do and you play with that style, I think it does make a massive difference over people that are playing solo or don't know who they're playing with or just don't coordinate or synergize well with them. And yeah, I think you're right. I think we're seeing that out of ReGen Red here in game number 1. Well, that's not to say that we're not also seeing that out of Almost Legends. They had some great team fighting in that last stage too, so I do still think this is definitely anyone's game, but we'll have to see how it plays out. As for the bans, Diablo and Ana, no shocker there to start this off.
Now, it looks eerily reminiscent of last game, and regardless of how game 1 went, we've seen teams that are, really very closely matched. Sometimes one team just has a better game than the other, and it looks more one-sided than the matchup would otherwise indicate. So while I just think ReGen Red has all that momentum, I wouldn't count out Almost Legends at all. They've been having a fantastic season. Maybe just kind of a little bit of a rough game for whatever reason. Weren't quite ready for the matchups. And I believe, Jay, these are the exact same bans to game 1, right?
Yep, right down to the order, I believe. Though it was swapped, of course, but the order of each team banning each hero, I do believe they were exactly the same. But first pick, gonna go over to ReGen Red. One thing we didn't mention, Zeratul made it through that entire first draft, so it looks like both teams don't really play it much. But Taka gonna be picked up here for Shui to start things off.
Yeah, I love Dahak on Towers of Doom. It gives you kind of passive pressure on that bottom siege camp from the other team, because the threat of a 5v4 at any time kind of allows you to really command that bottom lane just by his presence on the battlefield. ETC taken by Almost Legends, and then Vala, who we haven't seen in a minute, but pretty early pick Vala here coming out by Almost Legends.
I don't know. I saw plenty of Vala last night, Mongoose. More than enough.
I'm forgetting.
More than enough Vala coming at me last night, but I do think there is a place for her in this meta without Genji. I think Genji was the big counter, that easy ability to swift strike back to her low health pool being, very, very easily exploited. But we will see Garrosh and Lucio coming out here. So Lucio in for a big rework next week, but this week still very good for enabling Garrosh to get those easier tosses into those combos.
Yeah, Garrosh with the speed boost is pretty scary. So Almost Legend's going to be very incumbent upon those guys to take care on their positioning and not to feed into the Garrosh throw as they were tired. This is actually was very surprised those first bans went identical. Usually in a game 2 you see some kind of adjustment, and there it is in the mid ban as Jaina will not make an appearance here in game 2.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Jaina wasn't picked up in this first rotation for ReGen Red. They could have maybe had it instead of the Lucio. It does pair incredibly well with the Garrosh. Not to say that it's the only mage that can pair with it, but it's definitely the best for pairing with it. And those rings, game 1 from Carve, were just completely disgusting.
Yeah,
so we are going to see the Alexstrasza band as ReGen Red looks to get the healer chokehold here.
There's the Malthael, or otherwise known as when you select Garrosh, we select Malthael. Frame of draft thinking. You know, you mentioned kind of the team aspect of Heroes of the Storm, and at the end of that game, I was looking at the members of ReGen Red, and I was like, oh man, Shui just had a oh, but you know what? Carve had it. Oh, and Zulkin, and it really goes to show you when the game goes well. Other than poor Arrow, who just Johanna never looks impactful, even when she is. Everybody on the team really shone out, and it really kind of reflects on what you're talking about, just the team aspect of this game.
Hey, I called out a 5-man condemn. Anyway,
it just doesn't look like much, you know?
Yeah, you're right about that. It's not flashy. Ironically, she does have the flash ability, but we do have Li Ming and Maiev coming out, so just massive isolative tools and a lot of blow-up potential coming in from Carve on the Li Ming as follow-up. And then Zarya going to be the pickup, so looking for a little extra sustain to help out Brightwing. Is this a combo that I'm not seeing, Mongoose, or is Zarya just there for the supporting power?
That is a good question. I would be very interested to ask if the Zarya was a response to the blow-up, if they plan to use the shields to kind of catch the Li Ming, because so much of what ReGen Red wants to do here is predicated on Li Ming getting damage and finishing off kills. If the idea is Zarya is supposed to catch that, or if they had selected Vala and they kind of in their head, you know, Vala, when she was more prevalent in the meta, was traditionally ran with kind of a 1.5 support with typically a Tassadar, but you could do it with a Zarya too. So I wonder if they already had that in mind, or if it was an answer to the Li Ming, or if they already had it in mind of like, well, great, now it goes against Li Ming as well.
Oh, this is probably going to be 4-man bot for Almost Legends with the double soak Malthael. That makes sense.
On a pale horse, sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, we are getting into game number 2, Towers of Doom. And let's go ahead and start on the left. Almost Legends looking to bring this to a game 3. Balalos going to be on the ETC. Hoedown playing Zarya. We are going to see Emsa playing the Vala. Born to Shine on the Brightwing. And Tribulation on Malthael.
The battle begins.
And for ReGen Red, Zulkin playing the Maiev with Psychic on Lucio, Carve on Li Ming, Shui on Dahaka, and Arrow playing the Garrosh. You know, we didn't even touch on it. Maiev is one of those heroes when he's played and in the game is oh so strong, but it's not quite common enough to just kind of ban him in your pub games, at least not at our elo. But in competitive, if you know the other team plays him, it's worth a ban. So I really want to watch Zulkin on the Maiev as the flip into the tongue, into almost ticking off the Lalos. That was a pretty cute little combo there by Arrow and Shui.
Yeah, and that's the kind of coordination that I think ReGen Red is going to need throughout the game. But they also have to sync it up with the Li Ming and Maiev damage as well if they really want to hope to get picks out of this. And they're probably also not going to want ETC for that combo if they really want to try and get kills.
Well, and Li Ming's damage not quite ramped up yet. I actually thought you were going to finish that sentence with that's the kind of coordination that ReGen Blue is going to need if they're going to configure their stuff out. Is honestly how I thought you were going to finish that.
Well, you're not wrong, but We are going to see this pressure early. The 3-man in the bot, so they are leaving Brightwing up in the mid for now to soak, maybe trying to help get things started a little bit for Malthael. We do see it's on a pale horse, so we are probably going to see that. But one thing we do get is Hoedown with just a ton of damage, extra damage, as they look to soak those shots, and they get that early top tower. So nice grab from Almost Legends to start this game off.
Yeah, and look at this top lane already, Jay. We have Malthael really bullying the Dahaka and Shui, slowly recovering life due to his essence, but it looked like he was down to about 25% health there. And then Malthael just comes up here and takes this top camp. I really think Shui is going to be under a lot of pressure with this matchup, and if Almost Legends can leverage the on a pale horse combined with the matchup advantage in the top, it's really going to set themselves up for early game advantage here in this game.
Yeah, Hoedown getting a little bit low, does get hit by the Groundbreaker, but Zulkin also incredibly low, so Recyclic, those heals will ramp up as the game goes along, especially post 16, but early game, ReGen Red struggling to keep up on the HP.
Yeah, and now Li Ming wasn't here during any of that. She is coming down on the flank now. I think Balalos kind of sniffed it out. You can see him posture in that direction. Forced Carve to go the long way to make sure he didn't get a face full of cow there.
Yeah, front wall, it does go down for ReGen Red, so Almost Legends with about a quarter level lead and this front wall being down in the first laning phase. I think that's a massive win to start things off here for Almost Legends in Game 2.
Yeah, for sure. And the more I'm seeing of what they're doing, I think the Zarya was 100% a planned pick. They clearly have an idea of what they want to do with this composition. They're executing. Arrow's taking a lot of free damage, Jay. I know Garrosh is really good at baiting damage out, but that was a lot. And down goes Zulkin, going a little too deep to try to interrupt that. And Almost Legends in the early going showing absolutely no hangover from that game 1.
Yeah, great adjustments and good play to be able to get that out quickly, because as the top two were being cast, Dahaka was able to burrow down and ended up burrowing down, but too late. So not only do they get 2 of those shots, but now Maiev is on the pale horse, rotating between top and mid. Dahaka wastes the burrow and had to come down, and now had to waddle back up to top, and he's going to be way behind in this laning phase.
Yeah, this is only 4 minutes into the game, Jay, not even. And they're almost a full level lead up in experience. They already have the bottom fort wall down in its entirety. I know it's early, but the early going, this map, everything that's happened has been 100% dictated by the draft and style that Almost Legends is playing right here.
Yeah, and sometimes you see that on Towers of Doom, and you say, oh, you know, it's okay, we have an Abathur, or okay, you know, it's okay, we scale better, and we're going to be good late game, but really, you look at the comp for ReGen Red, they should be good early, and we're going to see another just 5-man rotation to the mid as they look to catch out Zulkin in the mid, is able to teleport away. But yeah, I agree with you, this is not a good sign for ReGen Red to start this off, that Almost Legends is in so much control, and here comes the invade.
Yeah, and not only that is, the reason ReGen Red should be good, as we have a full barroom brawl breaking out, and this time Dahaka comes in and gets value, finishes off Brightwing. Zulkin may go down or not, it's actually ETC. So ReGen Red roaring back, and then the into the fray on Shui, who lands the tongue on Hoedown, and they're able to finish him off. So Arrow actually hucking Shui right into the thick of it, and that's actually the second time we've seen this game. Really nice synergy between Arrow on Garrosh and Zulkin on the Maiev there.
Yeah, clearly that's a combo these guys. Yeah, clearly that's a combo these guys have practiced. They've used it in 2 different ways to be really synergistic and awesome. Zulkin almost completing that cap, but Balalos charging in and getting that face melt at the last second, and now it's a ReGen Red that's on the run, as we see the seesaw that is Towers of Doom going back and forth here very hard.
Yeah, a very small play there that sometimes goes unnoticed, but Recyclic with just a little bit of a boot for the peel there, 100% saved Arrow from dying. The toss and the stun onto ETC, so close to going down, and there he goes. Nice pickup there from ReGen Red. And this whole time, though, Jay, Malthael basically nowhere to be seen. He makes a little bit of a cameo in these team fights, and then he's on his pale horse and he's somewhere else on the map.
Yeah, doing the work of the solo laner. getting the soak and maintaining the small level lead for Almost Legends despite the 4-to-1 kill count. But I like this call from ReGen Red. They did have that nice turn. They got the kill, and now they look to invade, and they should be able to get this camp. Multiple members of Almost Legends are here, but their tank is not going to be here in time. Dahaka is going to burrow in, and they're going to look to turn this around, but still Zulkin's so low as they look to maybe back out. But the tether as they go back in, and we see the Calamity build actually coming out here from Carve. And we will end up seeing them both go back to their own sides for now, but massive invade, massive engage. I can't believe no one died there, Mongoose.
That team fight was literally a seesaw. It went to the left and then back to the right and then to the left again as both teams kind of swaying with the momentum of the engagement, but nobody going down. I do like what ReGen Red, though, did kind of over the last couple minutes. They really broke up the momentum of this game that Almost Legends had kind of built up the first 5 or 6 minutes here to where it feels like that's all gone. Basically, this game is flat even again, and it is really. Yeah,
we will see double altar spawn here, as both these teams are going to look to try and channel and get something. Zarya on the bot is going to be left alone. Meanwhile, the engage coming on the other side. The members of Almost Legends really in there, but we will see Born with that pushback on all the members from that Emerald win. So they're going to reset, look to re-engage, but everybody hitting the R button as we do see the mosh pit going to come out in the middle of all that. 2-man, but Arrow actually into the phrase recycling out. But meanwhile, Carve on the back end is going to end up dying to that last rites. Garrosh goes down. The bloodbath, I think, is finally coming to an end, but it's going to be a 1-for-3 exchange in favor of Almost Legends.
That was a very interesting team fight. I was just kind of waiting for that mosh pit to come out. Finally came out to trade out kills in the last rites, taking out Carve. Malthael on the backside with all those Zarya shields was absolutely wrecking ReGen Red. When we didn't even get a chance to talk about all these wonderful heroic abilities that came on board either, Jay.
Yeah, on the left side for Almost Legends, we've got Mosh Pit with the Last Rites, Emerald Wind, Rain of Vengeance, and the Expulsion Zone. And the big engage coming is multiple members of ReGen Red trying to defend. Brightwing is going to try to make it out, but Lucio says no thank you with that extra speed boost. And Shui even going to come in from the bot side, and the race car build coming in handy as he goes right up to Balalos. They do not find the drag, though, and for right now, Almost Legends going to make it out of that situation with a sneezable keep, but Tribulation is going to be able to take this down in the top lane before it becomes sneezable, it looks like.
Yeah, this with Dahaka rotating away, I love what Tribulation is doing. He's just like, you know what, I can't do anything. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And Dahaka has a long waddle back up to the top lane, and by the time he gets there, it's probably going to be gone. And look at this bottom fort too, Jay. I mean, this is about 3 auto attacks away from a 5 cap here if you're Almost Legends.
Yeah, we are going to see the bottom altar spawning. So the members of ReGen Red got to be a bit careful here. Almost Legends could end up trying to take this back, but even then, you know, it won't be theirs for a little while. It takes a little while to convert. But there's really isn't any tap. There's not really a whole lot of room for them to run safely. And it looks like they're just going to think better of it without those 13 talents. Back up and look to just try and keep this thing alive for the moment.
I really like that patience out of ReGen Red, and that's a really hard thing to do. If you kind of feel like the game might be moving away from you a little bit, but sometimes knowing that just discretion is the better part of valor. Sometimes living to fight another day is the right decision, and I think it was in that case.
So in all this calamity, we only called out about half of these heroics. We'll go to the other side. ReGen Red, Sound Barrier, Isolation, Warden's Cage, the Warlord's Challenge, and the Wave of Force. One thing I also wanted to touch on with build Carve, going with that missile build, the 7 talent, very good for those isolative tools, but Carve, have you tried Aether Walker? I'm just saying, 10% extra damage on those missiles.
Isn't that the one that the devs insist they're going to get you to pick?
I mean, they said they want to make us do Aether Walker, and I already wanted to, so they got me in, but it will get a little extra spell, the spell shield from that level 1 talent, but when you want all that extra damage, you know, Aether Walker gives you extra mobility and extra damage. But anyway, we will see the toss in here on the Polymorph on the other side to try and counter Arrow.
You know, this is something we haven't talked about yet, but for as scary and as ReGen Red's comp is, it's seriously deficient in the wave clear department. Lucio, not great wave clear. Maiev, not great wave clear. Garrosh, not great wave clear. Li Ming is limited in her wave clears. We have a big fight breaking out. The expulsion zone's completely splitting ReGen Red. This is a mosh pit waiting to happen, and there it is, instantly interrupted with Wave of Force. Warden's Case goes down. Shui is so low. Last Rites finally gets him. Look at Hoedown melting, absolutely melting the backline, just standing there and mowing down all the members of ReGen Red. A 3-4-1. Almost Legends taking absolute control of this game. Jay, I started to say the lack of wave clear is becoming an issue as on a Pale Horse Maiev is slowly controlling this map, as is the heavy siege pressure that Almost Legends can bring to board, and this is going to be a triple cap.
Yeah, and Boss coming in soon as well, so Almost Legends looking to put ReGen Red down to 1 point. We're going to see if ReGen Red can do anything about this, but with only 2 members up and all the other members having to slowly come back here. Actually, I take it back. Bad caster math. I didn't see there was one more to post there. So Almost Legends going to take the win off of that.
So I'm going to say Zarya calculated because they knew what they were doing.
Oh, yeah. And their map pick, too. So obviously they had a plan and executed it there.
Yeah, that was definitely... the pit composition come out from ReGen Red really had a hard time getting value with the Zarya shields. The lack of wave clear just became more and more of an issue as the team fight went on, and it just seemed like they couldn't quite get their footing down. Although you look at the kills, Jay, 7-7, it didn't feel like a 7-7 game.
Right? Yeah, it definitely. I'm glad you had it because my stats keep messing up at the end of these games, but yeah, it definitely felt like that game was all Almost Legends, and I don't know why it keeps trying to put 7 in instead of 1 on here, but there we go. Almost Legends has done pretty well, but they haven't won 7 games in this series.
That would be impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad, I'm just impressed. But we are going to go ahead and take a quick break before we head into game number 3. We'll be right back with the conclusion of this back and forth series here between Almost Legends and ReGen Red. All right, we are setting up here for game. Oop, there we go. Game number 3. As we see ReGen Red also selecting maps. So neither team prioritizing first pick here. And they're going to take us to Tomb of the Spider Queen. What do you think? First pick or map pick, Mongoose?
First pick. I prefer first pick. There's so many strong heroes that I think warrant bans right now, and being able to manipulate the map or the draft more in the early game, for me personally, is more valuable. But that's also a team-to-team thing. You know, you saw the value of map pick just last game. Almost Legends had a strategy for Towers of Doom. They picked the map. They're able to kind of last pick the final pieces to that strategy and then execute it to a victory. So there's certainly value to both, and I think generally it's team to team, but me personally, I prefer first pick.
Yeah, there is a lot to be said, though, for having second pick, particularly in at the same time as having your map pick, because you can kind of hide that one last pick that might complete your strategy on what you want to do on a certain map. Plus, you said it yourself, there's so many good heroes in the game right now. You could almost go with more comfort-based picks if you have a lot of those heroes in your map pools and allow one of them to go through, and you could end up getting 2 of the stronger heroes with that second pick.
All true statements. I think that's too next level for me, though. I can't think that.
Oh, well, you know, maybe that's something we can adjust on in further games, but either way, so far, so good. For this strategy, as each team that has picked the map in these first 2 games have won on it. So we'll have to see if game 3 ends up going in that direction as ReGen Red picks up Tomb of the Spider Queen, a map that, you know, very, very heavily prioritizes the wave clear, but also, you know, a few of the tools that aren't talked about as much. Being able to poke and deny for these turn-ins can be really powerful, and the power of vision to be able to see where your enemy team is rotating and where they might be trying to get these gem turn-ins can be pretty big as well.
Yeah, back when I was allowed to play anything other than tank, this was the only map that I ever played Zagara on, just because the vision is so valuable. You know, not that I'm suggesting Zagara, but the ability to kind of control the bottom half of the map with the vision. So any vision tools get extra value here for sure. The Sonic Arrow from the Hanzo, or the Sentinel from Tyrande. Even like a boombox from Lucio, all of those things have their value here. Johanna is excellent on Tomb for the clear and rotate as a tank, but also the flashlight is such an easy, completely unstoppable interrupt on the channel as well.
So in we go for game number 3. Almost Legends gonna have first pick, first ban, as this is ReGen Red's map number 2. There's too many color teams in NGS now, Mongoose. It confuses me.
Well, Jay, is it going to be Diablo, Anub, Kael'thas again, or are we actually going to see adjustments after 2 games?
I don't see any reason why they would change it. You know, those heroes still very strong on these maps individually, as well as in the meta. Ana, even though most of these heroes don't really contribute to the wave clear, it's a big rotational map. And actually, I wanted to thank now Venus reminding me with that cheer. I wanted to thank
one more than the one before. If you
right, yeah. Selexia with the 69 bits, Venus now with the 70. Do I hear 71? 71 going once. Mark Zombie also for the follow. Thank you very much for the support, guys. I appreciate it. Is Goldan going to be banned out here for ReGen Red? So a little bit of an adjustment here in game number 3.
Yeah, Nubrak. So those 2 kind of tanks that have separated themselves from the pack just a little bit are going to see 0 action here in this set. Banned out. I expect a Kael'thas ban. I believe it's been ReGen Red that's been banning it thus far, and Tomb is maybe one of Kael'thas's best maps, so if they've been banning him before, I don't see why they wouldn't now. Unless there was something in game 2 they saw that they didn't like, and they did not like ETC apparently.
And so now Kael'thas ends up going through, but to my point earlier, that's going to leave Ana up for ReGen Red as well as Maiev, Zeratul, a lot of these other heroes that we see banned out pretty often, so they let the Kael'thas through. Can ReGen Red respond by getting at least 2 power picks of their own?
Well, I don't know if it's going to see Zera. We haven't seen either side really go in that direction, so that would be a little bit out of left field there. And the Kael'thas was like insta-pick, Jay. That was like no hesitation whatsoever. It is going to be Anna as expected, and Arrow back on the Johanna.
Yeah, so Johanna working very well in game number 1 for Arrow. Very good wave clear, and probably the next strongest tank in the meta right now. I'd put it at, you know, Nubarak, Diablo, Joe. So Almost Legends now going to be forced to either pick one here, or they can really pile on the tank denial on the back half of this, these bans.
Yeah, that's something they can definitely do. Although I was gonna say, I think Almost Legends has to pick a tank here to make sure they don't get choked out even more, and they do, opting to kind of round out their core composition with a tank and a support. So Arthas Brightwing coming out to complement the Kael'thas. So I imagine if you're ReGen Red, who are you looking at as the nano target?
You know, you could still go to a Jaina, possibly, but that's also something that Almost Legends is probably going to ban out right here. I'd be surprised if it takes them 5 seconds to decide to ban that out. But Raynor going to be banned out for the side of ReGen Red. So other strong targets, you know, Maiev, very good with the nano boost. The additional cooldown reduction on Fan of Knives when you're already fanning away, and that spell power can be pretty good. But yeah, mostly it's just the mages. You know, Chromie's not really around anymore, at least until a few weeks when she gets her rework and then is reintroduced to the meta. And as far as other mages, there's not much else. So the Gul'dan banned out already, so. Are you still there, Mongoose? Uh-oh, I think we've lost Mongoose. Mongoose, no! But we are going to see Junkrat picked up. So speaking of decent nano targets, Junkrat's got quite a lot of, let's see. Junkrat does have quite a lot of spell damage from the ranged position. And of course, Thrall also coming in as well on that. So the extra roots, a lot of extra damage, and overall a pretty good solo laner. We'll have to see if Almost Legends has still got a tank in mind or solo laner. They're going to go with Leoric, and Azebo going to be picked up on the back end. So quite a lot of wave clear, good rotational, advantage and opportunities there. Is Mongoose back?
Well, I am back in Discord.
Aha.
But it's going to take me a minute to get back in game.
Well, I'm sure we can do our best to get you in here. But Lunara going to be the final pickup here for ReGen Red to round out this comp. So quite a lot of damage coming in on the side of ReGen Red. It's a lot of poke and spread damage though, so we'll have to see how that works out for him. But I suppose it's both sides. You know, kind of double mage now, Nazebo and Kael'thas for Almost Legends. A lot of CC follow-up potential, and then Tribulation on that Leoric. So I'll have to see if how that matchup goes against actually probably Shui, as Shui is going to be on the Lunara. So Leo versus Lunara going to be the solo lane matchup here. And Carve on the Thrall, Zolkin on the Junkrat. Interesting rotation of heroes here for ReGen Red.
All right, I'm seeing the comps for the first time.
Well, that's progress. So, what's your first impression?
Well, my first impression is I don't think I can get back in the game.
No!
No!
Nah,
Jay,
that's not good.
I'm gonna have to let you finish it off. It's not letting me rejoin. So
maybe I could
have
just
fun.
maybe I could just screen share with you.
Oh, all right, we can try that. That'll be interesting. We'll see if that works.
Oh no, that means I have to control my own camera.
I know.
Oh well, on the left, we're going to see Almost Legends. Balalos going to be playing the Arthas. Born to Shine going to be on the Brightwing. Tribulation on the Leoric. Emsa going to be playing the Nazebo. And we're going to have Hoedown playing the Kael'thas.
And for the side of ReGen Red, we have Carve on Thrall, Psychic on Anna, Arrow playing Johanna, I believe that is, Zulkin on Junkrat, and who is the last person? Shui on Lunara. A little bit of a change up there for him, is going onto a ranged this time around.
So right away we are going to see both teams kind of rotating a little unorthodox. We have multiple members going down towards the bot. But yeah, it is going to be Shui versus Tribulations down here. I don't know how that matchup's going to go with Leo in the solo. He's got good wave clear, but Shui on the range should be able to wear him down slowly but surely here.
Yeah, Shui is going to win that, especially until 4 when Leo gets Neil Peasants is born, gets a concussion mine into a dangerous area, but able to slowly flitter away. Until he gets Neil Peasants at 4, Lunara is going to chunk him down pretty hard.
Yeah, meanwhile, we will see Arrow getting hit by that root, but for now it's going to be Almost Legends just clearing the top. Both teams are going to be in an interesting position to try and deny rotations on the way back, but they'll both rotate pretty passively, and both teams are just going to keep up the soak to start off here.
Yeah, you can look at that bottom lane where the Wisp is positioned. Shui really expects to be pushing in hard there, and is doing so.
Yeah, and is doing a nice job of clearing the waves. He's only got a little bit of damage on the wall, but as this wave starts to stack up, we'll be more and more enabled to do that against Leoric, especially before he like you said, gets that extra wave clear at 4. So trying to take advantage early. Arrow comes in with a big condemn on the backside, but for right now, Bilalo's going to be able to walk out of that just fine. Bomb does go in once again onto Born to Shine, but plenty of room to rotate away there.
One of the things we hadn't touched on, I can tell you from playing Arthas into Ana, it sucks. The bio grenade when the army is out, completely neutering your healing, is really aggravating to play into. So I'm very interested to watch Bilalos make that adjustment as the game goes on and heroics come online.
In the bottom, the battle rages on here. Tribulation's starting to be able to step up a little bit more. I think if he is able to get those spooky hand hits, should be able to slowly start to win in that exchange, but we'll have to see how things go along. Meanwhile, definite rotational advantage in the wave clear department here for ReGen Red. Not that Almost Legends is a slouch, but a lot of the damage they come in is a little bit slower in terms of clearing these waves, and Arrow, of course, able to group them up so well for those Junkrat bombs that they're just going to be able to clear those waves out like it's nothing.
And there's the flashlight from Arrow, just kind of interrupting Born to Shine's turn-in from a pretty long distance away. They get the Condemned to interrupt as well. They're not giving up any cheap turn-ins. ReGen Red stepping in hard to make sure they can't get in any gems here in the early going.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of game that they definitely want to play. Now, Shui does still have 14 gems down in the bottom, but overall, ReGen Red's got the turn-in available, so they've been doing a nice job of picking up all of these gems and really maximizing their ability to get to this turn-in as fast as possible here for this early game.
Yeah, and Shui there trying to get the turn-in, but not able to do so, just kind of stepping away and putting the poke on Tribulation, so well played there by him. And we haven't talked about the Nazebo effect, Jay, on Tomb, which is a map that sometimes can run long as the wind conditions aren't quite as robust as they are on other maps. A late game Nazebo can be pretty game-breaking, as it looks like Zulkin is in trouble, but able to limp away to safety.
Yeah, Recyclic doing a nice job of keeping him alive, keeping those heals flowing in. And now Almost Legends does indeed have enough for their own turn-in. Shui did score the turn-in down in bot, so now it's just 14 more, which Zulkin has, that the members of ReGen Red need. But you touched on it a little bit there, but there's just so much poke between, Anna with the Sleep Dart, Thrall's got the Lightning, Arrow's got about 1,000 ways to interrupt it safely, and of course, you can't count out Junkrat with those mines, as he is going to rotate to bot and score the turn-in. So we do have first turn-in of the game. Red Webweaver is going to be coming out here for ReGen Red. Oh no,
Yeah,
Born getting pop
Born
tip
is in
over the
trouble.
wall. And that's first blood going over to ReGen Red, and that's not the time when you want your healer going down.
Now, if you're the side of Almost Legends, basically in order for them to get a turn in, they need to get a kill or two. Because the 5-on-5, they're not going to be able to sneak it in. There's no way that's happening. As Belalos gets booped away, and then body block. Kael'thas actually goes down too. Belalos is in trouble. This is going to be 30 gems going down. Born does teleport in to try to get him out of trouble, unable to do so. And that is a lot of gems on the ground in the top lane. Almost Legends. Jay, ReGen Red on the warpath early.
Yeah, and they're going to be pushing and melting this top fort. So that's definitely a big win. Priority lane here on Tomb of the Spider Queen with that boss up in the top lane. So they're going to be able to cap that in the bottom lane. Meanwhile, Shui wreaking havoc, as he has been all game, in the solo lane. Emsa is going to come around from the backside. For once, Shui didn't actually have that that warding wisp down in that lane, and Emsa with a very nice wall to keep in Shui, and that's going to be a big kill going over to Almost Legends, as they're going to be able to not deny a lot of soak down here.
Yeah, if nothing else, it's a feel good. They kind of needed the little break in the momentum there. What I was going to say was I really like ReGen's chances if they can get a hold of this game early, but anytime you have a Nazeebo on board, if Almost Legends keeps it close and stacks that Nazeebo, the longer and the later this game goes, the more it is going to favor that Nazeebo.
Yeah, so we do see down here in the bottom multiple members of Almost Legends. They go ahead and cap the camp down here, and level 10s come in almost at the exact same time for both teams, as the members of Almost Legends looking to score some of these gems. They get 35 in, but they still don't have quite enough for their first turn in, while ReGen Red starting to close in on their second.
Yeah, those are 30, 40 gems that Almost Legends lost in that top lane, and you're seeing the effects of that right here.
Meanwhile, Shui on cleanup duty here in the bot is able to clean up before there's too much damage down in the bot lane, but we'll quickly go over these level 10s for you. Arthas is going to actually come with a summon Syndragosa here in game number 3, and we're going to see the Entomb along with Pyroblast, and it's going to be it's not Gargantuan, Ravenous Spirit coming out for Nazeebo, and Emerald Wind for Born. So very, very spicy coming in here from Almost Legends.
Yeah, I wonder if the Ravenous Spirit came in before or after Thralls, because he did go Earthquake, which makes the Ravenous Spirit, you know, a little more palatable. You certainly don't want to take Ravenous Spirit into Sundering. It's just insta-cancel, basically. Lunara actually going down in a bottom gank between Leo and Nazeebo. You know, I've been harping on that Naz, late game Naz, but Jason, a late game Leoric with Buried Alive is absolutely no joke either. So the scaling, I think, is going to favor Almost Legends here. If they can kind of keep this game close and right the ship here a little, they're doing their best to force these gems in. But look at that Junkrat poke and the Johanna poke just delaying that as they're trying one more time to force those 19 gems in, and this time finally able to do it. Look how far they had to step up though to force ReGen Red back to get that turn.
Yeah, they needed some massive zoning there, but quickly before these Webweavers come out, we'll go over ReGen Red's ultimates. We have Nano Boost, of course, with Eye of Horus being banned out, being banned out here. Earthquake along with Leaping Strike, Riptire, and Blessed Shield. And Emsa going to be caught out in the bottom lane as a massive rotation comes in from ReGen Red. And they're going to be able to start immediately clearing down here in the bottom lane on this Webweaver uncontested.
Yeah, that was great recognition by ReGen Red, and that was a decisive rotation too. The whole team went down there very quickly, and they got him in Nazeebo very, very fast. Once he overextended just a little bit, he had zero chance to get away.
Meanwhile, Syndragosa up in the top lane, so stalling out the wave, also shutting down the towers. So they're going to get the top fort out of that exchange. Is it worth the exchange of sustain here for Arthas to take summon Syndragosa?
I would say no normally, but I wonder if that's the answer to the bio grenade on the Ana. If you just feel like you're not going to get the value out of Army with the bio grenade, so you don't worry about it.
That makes sense. Plus, it's a good counter to what we saw in Game 1 against ReGen Red, with their ability to just easily disengage and get out and not be overly punished. If you have a Summon Syndragosa turn, you're not going to be going anywhere, as Almost Legends should be able to chase them down with the massive amount of damage they have.
And, you know, really big hats off to Almost Legends, too, because ReGen Red really came out kind of guns a-blazing, seeming to take control of the early game, but you wouldn't know it by where this game stands right now. They've really stabilized the game and are on pace to get this game post-20, which is really where they want.
Yeah, and we will see the turn-in just barely able to be picked up there by ReGen Red, so Almost Legends just a tiny bit late on that deny. And now as both teams have level 13, Camp is pushing in the mid, and now we're going to see ReGen Red pushing in with Web Weavers of their own as they look to try and take this mid fort away.
Yeah, good decision by ReGen to push with that spell armor, and a great job of Almost Legends to burn that down before really stepping in hard. And now we have the teams crawling over mid, which you don't really see too much of here on Towers of Doom, as the ghost damage reduction going in very deep there by Tribulation, and Doom is still available. 14 to 14, big engagement from ReGen Red. There goes the Riptire as well as the Emerald Wind. Nazebo goes down, first to fall, and now Leoric may be in trouble. Brightwing falling, Leoric falling, all members of Almost Legends going down. ReGen Red marching to take down this mid fort.
Yeah, and the mid fort is going to just take a massive beating here. Bottom lane also, as the Web Weavers are starting to push in all three lanes at this point. Top lane, we actually already see Shui up here doing what we've seen him do pretty much the entire series, which is just allowing the 4-man to do its thing and being away. But now the 4-man rotates up as they're going to try and see if they can find Hoedown. Hoedown does pop that shield as the level 1 talent was finished, but not going to be enough as Arrow comes in with the Condemn, all the damage to follow. And that's going to be the 8th kill of the game going for ReGen Red as they pick up their 16 talents and look to push in on this keep.
I don't know if they're going to quite be able to take it, but they're going to try. With Kayle Cost down, that's one of their biggest anti-siege tools, and Born to Shine Concussion Mine into the middle of ReGen Red. She has no hope of getting out of that, and now, Jay, I think this keep is going to be forfeit.
And Arrow making an incredibly impactful play there with the Blessed Shield to cancel out the Emerald Wind. Born to Shine not able to zone out, but look at the turn here as we see the Ravenous Spirit of all things going to go ahead and take down, or do most of the damage to take down Thrall, and we see Arrow going down as well. Tribulations not going to be able to get any heals off the back end of that retreat, going to have to back away. Both teams will end up walking away, but a 2-for-2 exchange over the long haul there.
Yeah, that actually favors the team that was down, in this case, Almost Legends. I think ReGen would have been better served to just turn on that keep. Instead, they chased a kill, and Johanna was able to secure it. But with the Ravenous Spirit and the Entomb locking Thrall and Johanna in, they had zero chance of getting out of that.
Meanwhile, Camp is going to be picked up for the members of Almost Legends. Down in the bottom lane, ReGen Red going to pick up the Siege Camp on their side. No gems in any of the pockets for ReGen Red. Meanwhile, Almost Legends going to rotate in towards this bottom area. They've got 5 up, and they're looking to try and score a turn in here. Or are they?
And I like this call. They're kind of showing in mid while Nazebo's sneaking the turn in bottom. That's really good manipulation of the map, and they got a free turn in of a nice chunk of gems there.
Meanwhile, we do see the 5-man here in the mid. They clean up the camp fairly easily. Both teams rotating somewhat passively until they find Tribulation up here in the top lane. The long distance Wraith Walk, but he's still caught up here in the corner. Tribulations is going to end up going down here. It's only a matter of time. So big pick off, nice rotation. Even the Blessed Shield coming out just to make sure they secure it. And that's going to be 11th kill. But meanwhile, on the other side, we're going to see the turn-in. Is that worth, Goose?
Probably not. And this is something we've seen this whole series. ReGen has been really exceptional on identifying overextensions and rotating pretty hard. This game in particular, that's the second or third time we've seen it this game where they've They've stepped up and really punished an overextension coming out by Almost Legends. I will say, though, Leoric, though, with the reduced death timer, he'll be back in time for this, Jay, so maybe it was worth trading the kill for the turn.
Yeah, Leoric able to come back much faster than scheduled. Will drop right around the same time this Webweaver drops, so the members of ReGen Red just going to choose to drop down to the bot lane, clear out that one that was right in on the fort, but now they've got a little more than a half health bar still on this Webweaver as they march in to the mid keep front wall here.
And Summon Syndragosa available, so worth keeping an eye on that, seeing if Almost Legend wants to deploy that here on this mid keep or save it for something else.
Well, here comes the Syndragosa onto the mid. Wraithwalk as Tribulation trying to lower some of the damage. Pyroblast comes onto Anna, and that's going to be enough to finish her off. Tribulation does get the Entomb out, but will die for the trouble. Johanna is also going to end up falling off the back end of that, though. Zulkin trying to zone out members, finds Hoedown with the grenade, and this team fight is all over the place, Mongoose.
Yeah, started off with the Pyro combining with Leoric to take out Anna. And everybody is so low except for Carve on that Thrall. And I think that's Emsa there on the Zebo.
I like how the one guy that wasn't incredibly low was still at about half health. So that just goes to show exactly how turbulent that whole team fight was, though. And meanwhile, up in the top lane, nice rotation from Almost Legends. They just barely are able to save that keep, so they're going to keep 3 up here. And both teams going to be very close to 20 as multiple members going to be slowly making their way back out of the Hall of Storms after all of those deaths. And we're finally going to see what looks like to be a good 2020 fight to end the series, Mongoose.
Yeah, and I do think the 2020 fight is going to favor Almost Legends. Buried Alive is
it's got to, yeah.
Brutal. Nazebo, it's hard to tell on the Discord screen share, but I believe he is stacked appropriately. So Almost Legends comp is really going to start firing up here post 20.
Now, meanwhile, we will see ReGen Red rotating around, sharking, trying to find the members of Almost Legends before they hit that 20. But yeah, 200 stacks here for Nazebo, so he is good to go in terms of the stacks as soon as they do hit 20. The only question is when, not so much if. And there it is. 20s do come in, and gonna lock it in eventually. There it is.
And the level 20 upgrade to Summon Syndragosa, I believe that's the root. So that's a large AoE root, Buried Alive. This looks like a full
twice as far.
Living Bomb build Kael'thas almost.
That's a very well-timed turn-in, though, for ReGen Red. They're going to be able to just barely get that turn-in off before the rotations came in to deny it. And looks like they're going to be focusing in on this top lane as they start off here.
Yeah, and all of these lanes are actually fairly far pushed out by Almost Legends, so this is the one where the decisive engagement is going to happen here as these two teams posture here in the top lane.
So here we go. Webweaver hits the ground running in towards this top keep. We will see Tribulation starting that Wraithwalk out, trying to find a little bit of damage denial. But right now, ReGen Red very tentative to go in here. They're playing very, very, very far back. And the Webweaver is going to get pretty much annihilated here. Emsa does end up catching the Condemn, but nice Iron Skin on the other side as Balalos looked to try and catch Arrow out, and both teams going to just walk away for now.
Yeah, really pay attention to Recyclic. He is playing a mile and a half back, and completely understandably so. That last team fight, Leoric basically YOLO'd onto him and combined with the Pyro, and they just exploded him. And look at how far back he is, Jay. He does not want to step up, and that's totally understandable. Recyclic understanding what happened to this comp when it hits 20, so they got to play this just right if they're going to finish this game off. And I don't think this turn-in is going to accomplish much of anything, Jason.
Yeah, they look for something there with Zulkin and that grenade, but not quite able to isolate anyone out there. And Arrow going to have to rotate away as well. And you're right, you know, turn-in for, it looks like, some damage in the bot lane. But now we see Tribulation going in, finds Arrow. Buried alive is Johanna. She does not like to be silenced, but is able to make it out. maybe the root comes in, unstoppable, gonna be popped as Riptire to try and zone away. And on the chase right now is Almost Legends. Recycling gonna get hit by that root, but still somehow just barely alive. The poison coming out though, and Tribulations will be able to finish him off as it's an 0 for 2. And now looks like they're gonna be able to probably find the Johanna kill here. Poison damage and the Arthas is going to be enough to finish them off as well. And I think that might be the beginning of the end, Mongoose. They can try to just go up through top here, but they're actually trying to find an angle in here on mid.
Yeah, I don't know what the hesitation was. They did an easy call to rotate top. Leoric's going to die actually from this. That may have been a mistake by Almost Legends. It might not matter at this point in the game, but a Junkrat and a Lunara is no joke. They are going to get mid-keep for it, but they really should have gotten more.
Oh! That Riptire almost enough to take down Hoedown. But, yeah, they're going to get the mid-keep, but in the bottom, I think they might end up getting the bottom keep on the other side. So just kind of an even trade-out after a 1 for 3 exchange here by Almost Legends.
Now, this will not be an even trade-out. This will probably end the game. It'll be very close. The only... really mitigating factor here is that Arthas is going to be very low for this push. Johanna not quite up yet, but members of ReGen Red know what's going on and they have rotated away. Ghost Leoric will be spawning here shortly. Boss is about done. Here comes the Riptire. Boss going down. They do secure it, but Arthas and Nazebo explode, as does Lunara. I have no idea what's going to happen here. Kael'thas running from the Junkrat bombs and goes down. Chaos, absolute chaos. A
Junkrat triple kill. They get the Brightwing, and now, I don't know, am I calling a base race as the next part of this? I don't know, but Boss is going to be able to get through that top keep and is going directly on to core, but it's only Leoric alive, so they're not going to be able to push with it. This should be able to be cleared out with minimal damage to the core, and somehow 22 minutes in, another 4-man wipe, and this match will continue on.
Yeah, I think Almost Legends really missed an opportunity not to just rotate straight through the top to end that game after that kind of running engagement in the mid, but this really fun series is just not going to end, Jay. We're going to be here casting.
You know, we'll have to apologize to our scrim partners when we're late later on, because it's going to be, it looks so far to be an hour-long match, but we do see ReGen Red starting to do that housekeeping. They still got Lunara out soaking, and now all the members are back for Almost Legends. So did I say that there was going to be one post-2020 team fight? Let's do maybe like the 4th or 5th now to see if we can maybe get a winner out of this one.
Yeah, and the issue remains for ReGen Red that they were only able to win that because Almost Legends was already really chunked, and they had just, you know, they were kind of fighting under the boss. In the straight up 2020 team fight, it has really looked all Almost Legends.
Yeah, until that boss fight. But it gives a big advantage to ReGen Red and all of the poke potential that they have. But I agree. The scaling isn't going to stop for Nazebo as this game goes further and further along. It's only going to get more powerful. Meanwhile, Tribulation sharking around, looking to see if it could find anybody. Does find the Thrall here and Buried Alive, but Recyclic doing a very nice job of keeping the heals targeted onto Carve there. They do a ton of damage on the turnaround. Tribulation is going to fall. And meanwhile, Hoedown is going to get taken out by that Riptire as well. So here comes ReGen Red as they look to push further and further. Balalios getting very, very low. Arrow trying to find a Condemn, but getting low and not really wanting to continue to march face right into that Nazebo. And here they go to the bot lane looking to maybe try and end this game.
Yeah, that's a pretty big wave down there. I think that was a case of Almost Legends. They kind of recognized the big advantage they have and didn't exercise enough patience. Went a little bit too YOLO into that entomb, if you will.
3 members here for the defense. Meanwhile, on the other side, the core starting to take some pressure on the other side. The shields are starting to get damaged, but it looks like they're going to come in. Tribulation is also going to be back for this, so this could be a counter throw. Nazebo with the Ravenous.
ReGen's in trouble, Jay.
Yeah, Shui getting very, very low on the backside. Junkrat is the first to fall. Arrow getting very low. Probably still has the Indestructible, but if they fall here, this is probably going to be the end of the game. Balalios actually going down as Arrow somehow living, Recyclic just healing everybody through all of this damage, and Lunara ends up falling. Can they get the core though? 22% poison damage might be the end of it, and that is it! ReGen Red gets it off the heels of that poison. Game 3 and the series. What just happened, Mongoose?
I'm not gonna lie, I thought when Leoric came up that ReGen Red was in trouble, but the heals on the Ana crazy, and the poison damage to finish off the core. Holy cow. What a set, and that's a DMG 20. See, that's about what I expect.
And my computer can't even handle exactly how epic this entire series has been. As it's actually kind of funny. Not only is Mongoose going in and out, but the screen is just completely popping. On my end. So what a series end here. ReGen Red gonna end up winning. Let's see if we can get somebody in here for an interview as well here. Now we'll see if we can get Mongoose back as well while we're at it.
I'm here.
There we go. Recyclic. Sending Arrow because I think I'm having cardiac arrest, says Recyclic. Now, to be fair, I think that that's warranted at this stage with how that went down. I wasn't even playing, and I think I'm having a little bit of a palpitation myself. Let's see. The only real question is how to get Arrow into this call.
Well, we could just jump over in the ReGen server real quick, too.
That's true. You know, you've always got the best ideas, Mongoose.
Not just a hat rack.
Thank goodness for that.
We'll catch you over there.
All right. All right, we are joined by Arrow.
Hi, guys.
Johanna, so powerful in that series, but talk about that finish. How are you guys feeling right now?
It's Tuesday. It's Taco Tuesday, man. I'm feeling great. I think that the atmosphere for the team at the end of that game was about as explosive as I've heard in any like raid boss that I've ever downed in Warcraft. It was, everybody was like, F yeah! Like, Rek threw his mic on the ground apparently, and you know, I don't know what he was doing, but he was dancing a jig somewhere.
Team captain having a cardiac arrest. I love it. What a finish for you guys. So Shui got to be named the MVP there, just because poison damage on the core was what finished it off. What's kind of going through your mind specifically as that core is slowly ticking down, the other cores getting hit by minions, all this craziness is going on? What's going through the mind as you close in on that win?
You know, it was clearly an all or nothing call, right? For a moment, Shui was talking about, should I stay and clear this, and it was obviously we had to go in on it full tilt, 100%. Leo was one of the only two people dead. He was going to be coming back in the middle of it, and you know, it was everything. So we just had to give it 100%, keep the DPS away from Shui on Lunara, and you know, Rek, like he said, listen, I'm hyper focusing Lunara. She's got to finish this core, and it was close. It was getting a little sketchy at the end, but I had confidence. We had it.
Yeah, nothing like winning the game when all 5 people are dead. That's definitely once in a lifetime kind of thing. But Mongoose, you got any questions here?
Two. First question, Arrow. That game hit 20. When you guys stepped up on the turn that you got right as you got 20, there was a noticeable shift in the aggression and how you guys were positioning. Were you just aware of what tech comp turned into on the other side once they hit 20?
Yeah, so one of the first things I said when we came into the game was when they hit 20, like, we have to end this game before 20. If we don't, we have a very difficult time. I'm quite thankful that Kael'thas took endless bombs because we weren't spreading bombs like almost at all. But the instead of flamethrower, which probably would have, been deciding factor. And when we hit 20, we had a wipe there. I think it was right there where Lunara managed to kill the Leo on our keep, and then Junkrat with pushing them all away, so we didn't lose it at that last point. And when we regrouped, I just simply said, hey, listen, are we playing this safe or are we going hard? And the decision was we're going hard. We got to go in on them to make this work. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen.
All right, second question. Well, what the hell has gotten into you guys? Because you are not the team we scrimmed. You guys kind of got off to a rough start, but holy cow, the last 3 weeks, you guys are like not the same team. Taking out the first place team and the second place team, really on a tear. What's changed?
I have to go back to that second match that we had. I don't remember which team it was that we played against, but I was out for that day, and I got a shout out to my friend Ragnarok who said, clearly Arrow was the downfall of the team on that first game, and I had to show him that just wasn't the case, And obviously, we've made some structure changes within the team, just slightly with our positioning and subs kind of moving around a little bit. So we've got a really strong, really healthy team. Everybody's connecting well. We're doing things, right, and everybody's interested in getting better. And you know what? We said, hey, we lost pretty handily to Blue. We can't have that happen again. We can't have that holy cow.
Well, I don't think we'll be scrimming you guys anytime in the near future because I don't know that would happen again. So we're gonna leave our hat hang up on that one and be busy. Time that we could be scrimming you guys in the near future.
Yeah, I don't know
Fair
if our
enough.
team can take a confidence shaker of losing to a team division down right now. I think we'll need to just keep that one on the side for later in the season when we've improved as much as you guys have. It has been incredible to watch you guys get better and better. But before we let you go, do you have any shout-outs you want to make?
Yeah, you know what? So last time Rec was kind enough to talk about his 1-year anniversary. I don't have anything cool like that. This is my first time being on the team as a primary roster. I was sub last season, and this is absolutely fantastic. ReGen's been really great. If I don't call out Murda, then I'm just gonna get a lot of hate mail. So Murda's my boy. BlizzCon buddies. But I've got several friends that are out there watching, who are sending me notes, and just wanted to say thanks to those guys for listening in and bringing in the positivity, and my team for really sticking it out and being really confident and putting in the effort to learn new heroes and adapt strategies and just discuss things. And of course you guys are great. Oh, and I do want to say one other thing. Mongoose, you made a comment in there in the middle where you're like, oh my gosh, look at the ReGen, and then there was something else later about the core call. It was the core call in that first game. I just have to say, I said it.
Okay, you said it.
I said go core.
Did you see Rag giving you guys grief too in the chat?
Oh yeah. I mean, if Rag's in chat, he's giving grief, right? I mean, that's just his thing. So
True statement. Yeah, but I told Jay kind of in between when we were
even when he's not your coach, it's weird.
right.
True all true. I told him, you guys go straight to core, you win 100%, and if you go to the objective, you win 99%. You're probably still fine either way, but when the percentage goes down just a little bit, it means you should have done the other thing.
Hey, and you know what? This last game, that 1% might have been it.
Yep, that is very, very true. Because I actually thought Almost Legends had. I thought they could have ended if they went top instead of through mid. About 3 minutes before that game ended, I really thought they had it won versus you guys there.
We actually said the same thing when when the three of us were dead. We were like, well, that's game, and they didn't, because that top keep was remarkably low. It was like
Yeah, it was done.
fifth of its, or 5% health.
And it was a combination of not only did they not go top to end, but they also kind of hemmed and hawed for 5 or 6 seconds or so. And that 5 or 6 seconds, when you're trying to core call, makes a difference. And you guys did have Junkrat and Lunara up, and if you want to have 2 people up to defend, it's probably the 2 that you want. But yeah, that just kind of goes to show you knowing when to end is a really big deal. You guys apparently knew just enough how to end.
Just
right.
calculated, calculated, my friend. We're all mathematicians here.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming out and playing just a killer series, as well as the interview. Congratulations. Go enjoy the win, man. You guys deserve it.
Right on. Thanks, guys.
Later, Arrow.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight, guys. Thank you very much for coming out to see this epic Division C East matchup. Mongoose, before we sign off, do you have any shout-outs? Where can people find you?
Well, tomorrow I will be casting Team Training Wheels versus Duratan's Couch, Division D. I'm sorry, scratch that. Division B East at 6 o'clock. So, and maybe a co-caster. You'll find me there at twitch.tv /mongoose_22. On Friday, B-Train and I will actually be casting Division S on the Nexus Gaming Series Twitch at 5:30 Pacific. So find me both of those places.
All right, and before I go, I want to shout out Sui and Recyclic for the follows. Thank you very much. Anybody else, if you're interested in seeing more Heroes of the Storm, follow me here. Follow me on YouTube. Go follow the YouTube channel as well. Subscriptions there will get you access to all of the NGS reminders and access to all of the NGS content we got going up there on a weekly basis now, with all the extra episodes of Nexus Edge, the Nexus Now podcast, all of those playlists. It's really been cool to see that grow, so check that out over on YouTube. And until next time, guys, I am Jayzon, this guy's Mongoose, and for the Nexus Gaming Series, we'll see you next time.